Hi, welcome to the Firaxis live stream. I'm Andrew Fredrickson, and I am the senior producer for Sid Meier's Civilization 6 post-launch content, here with Ed Beach, lead designer.
Welcome, everyone.
So today we're going to be playing a little bit of our new DLC, which comes out soon. So stay tuned for some social media updates in the near future. This DLC is going to include the Persian and Macedon civs, obviously with their leaders Cyrus and Alexander. In addition to that, there's two new wonders. Do you want to?
We'll get to them. We'll get to them as we go through the scenario.
And then there's obviously the scenario that we're going to be touching on today, the Conquest of Alexander. So stay tuned for more details. And yes, this is free for everyone who bought the digital deluxe and available for purchase for the rest of you.
And then the other thing we wanted to mention is that just like every other time we've rolled out DLC, we are doing a base game patch update that comes along with this DLC pack, so they'll all roll out at the same time. And the patch content here is similar to what we've done in the past, where we've taken a look across all the systems and kind of figured out what adjustments we want to make. We definitely have looked at unit and district balance one more time. So there are changes that you'll notice both in terms of some combat strengths and some district effects. We've looked at diplomacy and warmongering systems yet again, and there's sort of some fine-tuning refinements that have gone on there so that those make maybe a little bit more sense. And then bug fixes and continued improvements to the AI. So you'll see all that. Just like every other time, we're going to have a full itemization of all the contents
We'll have
the patch.
And as many fixes as we can spec out for you. But there is one in particular you wanted to mention.
Right. We got the go-ahead to clear with everybody that the last produced item in the city bug that has been a little bit tricky for us to track down and nail. That one's all fixed, and so that's something that you will be able to have working properly for you once you get this update.
Cool. So with that, let's go ahead and just jump right into the scenario.
Okay. So our scenario here is a daunting task. It's a daunting task because we have chosen to play it on the highest difficulty level. We're playing it on deity. And I think that this achievement that we have put in associated with this scenario is the hardest achievement to get in Civilization 6. I've been trying to track it down for the last couple weeks.
Yeah, I know that we've had some people get it, but they've definitely fought hard for it.
Right. We had a lot of people say, it'll never happen, no one will ever do it. We've got to make changes to make it easier, but we really want it to be supremely difficult. So that's what we're going to get started today. It's going to take longer than we have time in the live stream to finish it. But I'm going to go ahead and take the save game that we finished with today and keep moving forward with it. And I'll let everyone know whether I get the achievement once downstream I've had a chance to finish playing it. So how does this work?
Yeah. This has definitely got some unique rules, and it's got a new flavor to it.
Right. So we're showing the map. We're all the way up in the upper left northwestern corner of the map where our capital city for Macedon, Pella, is located. And Alexander is here with his army. He's only got 6 units in his army. And he has got to, in 37 turns, conquer everything on the map.
That's 37 for deity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So the way it works is different difficulty levels. You can get the achievement for beating the scenario on some difficulty level.
Right.
Without having to play against deity, and you'll get 50, 60 turns, something like that, to do it in. But if you want to win it on deity, you have to do it in 37 turns. Now, 37 is a really weird number, and I just noticed on the forums yesterday that people were like, where the heck did they come up with 37? That's the strangest number ever. Well, 37 makes total sense when you realize how fast Alexander conquered this entire area historically.
Yes.
Because he did it in just over 12 years. And we have this set up so the game is representing every turn is 4 months. And if you do the math, 4 months plus a little bit longer, that's 37 4-month blocks. So in order to get this massive deity achievement, all you're doing is just
It's been done. Clearly, it's been done before.
It's been done by Alexander in real life. So that's what we're trying to do here is to accomplish just what he did. Now, the achievement makes it even tougher because rather than just beating it on deity, you actually have to also get a score of 200 points. And you get 5 points in this scenario for every city that you have. And so there are only 29 cities on the map. That means you're going to have to create 11 brand new cities as you go along. And the reason we put that in as part of the scenario and the hard achievement was Alexander was famous for loving to found cities that all had his name in them somehow. It was Alexander something or other. So you'll notice that we'll found some cities as we go along here. Not all of them are named after himself, but pretty much most of them are. And so we're going to have to find spots for about 11 more cities to actually get the achievement as we go through.
Right, and obviously that's something you got to sort of be mindful of the whole way, because when you plant one, if you put it in the wrong spot, you can accidentally make it so where you could have fit 2, now you can only fit 1.
There's actually one city I love to raise just because it's in such an obnoxious spot that I get like 4 more cities out of that area if I raise that one. So we should get to that as well. But let's go ahead and get to some action. First thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about Alexander himself. Now, Alexander's a great general, and he's got a special unit flag that looks like that cool lion mask that he uses as his helmet. You can see it right there.
Right.
He's holding it in his hand. And this is going to tell us also a little bit about his bonuses in the scenario. So first of all, Alexander never suffers war weariness at all. And that's in this scenario or in the base game. So that's the really cool, fun thing about Macedon. The reason we sort of had to carve Macedon out as a separate civilization is we wanted to give them bonuses that made them the ultimate, war fighting machine. That they can just start fighting a war in the beginning and just keep going.
Yep.
So that's even the name of his ability, is To the World's End. The other cool thing he gets is his military units heal completely whenever he captures a city with a wonder. So that's going to guide us towards our first target.
Yeah, that's going to be very important in this scenario, especially playing that one out.
So if we look...
Why don't you talk about the army that we're starting with, actually, before we...
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got 3 branches of it. We have some archers. They're not going to be critical to what we're doing. They're sort of outclassed by the other units, which are Macedonian unique units. So the first type of Macedonian unique unit we have is the Halicarnassus, which is a replacement to the swordsman. And those are your frontline troops that you send them into cities. They have a bonus doing combat in districts. So they're actually... the best troop to go in and do the final job of capturing a city for you.
Very important in the scenario,
yes,
obviously.
Exactly. The other unit that is also super important are the companion cavalry. Alexander's friends who were trained at the same Royal Page School that he was. So they're the heteroi, and they're cavalry, hard-hitting, sort of shock cavalry units. They come with a promotion. As soon as you create one, it already has a promotion sitting there waiting to go, which is also very important in this scenario. And because of the way Alexander works, they're going to be moving at 7 movement. So that's how we're going to be able to clear this map in so few turns, is we're going to have an army that just moves amazingly fast.
Yeah, I think that's you started to touch on one of the things that's really unique, is that you said with the way Alexander works, and people can see here, it's not just Alexander, your leader.
Yeah, so Alexander has a specific unit on the map, and it functions basically like a great general that's triple strength.
A really, really great general.
Exactly. So rather than giving units within the 2-tile radius +1 movement, he actually gives them +3 movement. So now your Hippaspis, your regular old foot soldiers, they're going to move 5. Your cavalry is going to move 7. And instead of giving the +5 combat strength bonus, he's going to give you a +15.
Yeah.
So the whole key to this scenario and being able to win it is positioning of Alexander. Right. You want him near as many combats as you possibly can have him next to, because as long as he's within 2 hexes of somebody that's either attacking or being attacked, they're going to be way, way, way stronger.
Yeah, and it's like you said, he's so powerful that wherever you have him on any given turn, it's not just moving him in one direction, but I think you're going to show it here, but bouncing him around sometimes too.
Right. You sort of have to think about where he is in the beginning of the turn, where he's going to be in the middle of the turn, and where he's going to finish the turn.
Right.
The finishing of the turn is very important because that +3 movement is always awarded. This is the way it works in Civ 6. Bonus movement is always awarded at the beginning of a turn. And so if he starts that turn near those guys, they're going to be able to move a long ways. And obviously, you can see that all these units, like this Hippospis here, to the 2 tiles to the east, does get the plus movement bonus. He's moving 7. But then these units that are further away from Alexander, notice they only have 2 movement for the turn because they just weren't close enough to him.
Right.
So we have to think about positioning very, very carefully. It's a really intricate puzzle game that we're going to be playing here. So we're going to start out, and we will move Alexander down towards our first target, which is going to be Athens. Athens is a city-state in this scenario. It's the owner of the Oracle.
Yeah, and this is a big thing where we have to, think about Alexander's bonuses, because as you mentioned, the capturing with a wonder.
That'll heal everybody. So what we can do this first turn, we can be really aggressive. We can go ahead and just make as many attacks as we need to. Don't worry about combat damage. But there is a lot of time you spend in this scenario trying to figure out how you're going to heal your troops on the fly. You don't want to ever have to sit around 4 or 5 turns for your troops to heal back up.
That's a huge portion of the 37 turns that you're allotted.
You won't have time to do that. So there are 3 ways to get your troops healed in this scenario. One is to capture a city with a wonder. The second is to have a promotion stored up on the unit.
Right.
And like we were saying before, the companion cavalry starts with a free promotion. I actually don't use it right away.
That's what I was going to say. I do the same thing. I hold on to it, and it's sort of like taking a heal potion with you.
Right, exactly. And then the other heal potion you have is there are farms and some Persian paradise gardens and other improvements that you can pillage. And that costs you 3 movement points to pillage it. But if you have 7 movement points, you can get at least half a turn's movement and a heal in on the same turn. So that's another part of this puzzle.
Yeah, I've definitely started doing that, but I always want to be mindful because if I'm going to take the city afterwards, I don't want to be stuck repairing it necessarily.
Yeah. Well, I find that the cities here, they're all going to be in an occupied state, so they're going to be sort of producing at half strength. So I don't worry too much about the city production if it's more important to keep my army going.
That's probably why I'm not doing as well as you do in this scenario. Good thing you have the mouse.
So the other thing we have to keep in mind is if we ever move Alexander into zone of control, he's going to be locked in for the rest of the turn and not going to get to move any further.
Right.
And so for instance, if I just moved Alexander 2 spaces down here into this zone of control, he'd be done for the turn. I wouldn't get him next to Athens, which is what I want to do. So I'm going to start out by moving Alexander, but I'm only going to move him 1 space. So now he's exerting his combat power over the encampment, but he doesn't actually lose his movement yet because of the zone of control is too far away. So I can bombard this encampment with archers. I can send my frontline soldiers down. You can see that they are getting a +5 when besieging the district over on the right-hand panel underneath them. So that's their district attack bonus. So they're going to be able to finish off this encampment.
And that's on top of that huge bonus you got from bringing Alexander in. So
we had a +20 there.
And you've dealt with that zone of control now, too.
Right. So now Alexander can come all the way down here next to Athens.
Are you sure you want him down that far? In the zone of control?
Yes, because I've got the companion cavalry to
follow
you're
going to bring him down.
Now, it is a special rule of this scenario that if Alexander is ever attacked by a Persian force, he dies and you lose the entire scenario.
Yeah.
So Anders exactly right that moving him all by himself out front can be really a bad move. But you just, as long as you have somebody to cover him, you're okay. You got
the with such a big move, I found myself kind of whipping him around. And I lost track of it, and then all of a sudden it was he got attacked, and I was like, oh, just dang it, lose the scenario. I was halfway across the map.
Yeah, so that can be tough. So the other thing that's important to note is I look at the scenario a little bit sort of like Alexander is trying to recruit his gang of friendly merry men. It's sort of like Robin Hood going around and recruiting all the merry men. So every time he captures a capital city or a city with a wonder, his reputation is enhanced and more troops flock to his side. And if you look at the scenario special rules, we have a list of these. So, for instance, capturing Athens is going to give him 2 extra hoplites to add to his army. And that's going to be, hoplites aren't maybe as strong as his unique units, but they are units who are very good against anti-cavalry.
Right.
They're anti-cavalry units. And so the Persian army is made up of a lot of both horsemen and chariots and so forth. So we're going to need those hoplites. They're going to actually play a crucial role. I've heard of people who tried this scenario. They actually said, "Oh, it's going to be, I can mop up Athens later. I'll just go straight out."
I made that mistake and I lost
and you lose those hoplites, and you also have an enemy force in your rear. So that's just not a good way to start out. So we're going to go ahead and finish out the turn by taking our attacks on Athens and getting it damaged with the companion cavalry. And here's our first settler. If we head him east, he can get captured by this horseman, so we won't move him too far. We'll just move him maybe to
I usually like to do up there, up at the top. It's not as strong of a location, but at night it lets me put a few back in the backfield before.
That's true. I have done that. I like this one first because it actually has some resources you pull in, but I stick a city up here as well. Okay, and so let's go ahead and we may have moved our archer too far, but we will go ahead and it's probably questionable whether we should have moved the Hippospis down this way, but
yeah, you have a shortcut there if you take it, but I did the same thing, and I think the archers coming first may not be the right way to go, but I think you might be able to save it.
We could actually settle here and still fit one more city there and one more city there. So, 4. So I'm going to actually settle the city right here. And yes, we have Alexandria Troas. So yes, our first city named after Alexander has graced the map. So we have a couple production decisions. We only have 2 companion cavalry. I usually want 7 or 8 at least by the time we get seriously into the scenario. So let's build one more of those.
Yeah.
And in our new city, we'll see what our production choices are there. Things are taking quite a while here. And the other thing we're going to want to do is grab a couple of the tiles nearby that city. So we'll do that. Now we can get some better production here. And I want to put an encampment a little bit further down. So let's grab this tile to put the encampment on. Encampments here do give you extra gold income, so they let you buy more troops in this scenario. So that's kind of
that's definitely a quick build for me every time I go through.
Yeah, so you sort of want get one of those in every single.
And you can get the troops further out too, which is always nice, like when you're trying to flood an army to the east here.
Okay. Well, we got our archer destroyed, which actually you would think it bothers me, but I don't know. I never find that my archers can keep up with my army anyway, so it's not too devastating. Now, in this turn 2 here, notice the AI turns are super, super quick in this scenario.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun to play because you never are waiting around for the AI at all. You only have one AI opponent that really has to take a turn against you. We're going to be able to go ahead and take Athens right away. So what we'll do is go ahead and...
You're going to block that up with that?
We won't move Alexander until after Athens has fallen.
Yeah, keep that bonus down there.
We just have to figure out which unit we want to take Athens with. I think any of these guys probably are strong enough to do it.
I usually like to, in this situation, I like to use a Halicarnassus because they can get back to the front lines faster.
Right. I think that's a good move. So we'll go ahead, and this guy who's on the road, we'll have him finish off Athens. Okay, everyone healed. And Alexander can come all the way back. We'll put him at least to this encampment here. And then we've got our 2 new hoplites. They were created mid-turn, so they didn't get the extra movement yet. Actually, that's an interesting point. If we don't move him quite that far, now let's keep him on the front.
Yeah, how far can you get to Ephesus? There you go. See, it's that thinking about where's Alexander going to be at the end of the turn.
Yep.
He can capture all of that army up front, so they're all going to get that movement.
Okay, and you want to keep all the cities unless you have one that's just in such a bad position that you're going to replace it with some settlers later. But in general, you're going to be keeping most of your cities here. Okay, so Alexander's a nice safe spot. We have to choose our production for Athens. Let's go ahead and repair its encampment to get the gold from it first. And we can move on to the next turn. Okay, so turn 3 here, and
you got bottlenecked a little bit, didn't you?
Except for this horseman is going to go down very quickly, and I'll use the archer to take him out just to allow a few more troops to go by. We also, this guy with a 7 movement can come around the side, so we should definitely do that as well. I think it actually might be advantageous to move Alexander around the side too. If he's here, he's exerting his influence everywhere we want him to be.
That's true.
So let's go ahead and start Alexander's move by moving him around over to Asia Minor that way. And we'll come in with our horse around there. And
who are you going to bring in for that assault?
I'm going to
you want to
move him aside so that the archer can come up, and then the archer can take out the horse.
Oh, because you have the 7 movement here, so you can bring those.
And then.
Now, do you need to take out the district, or do you want to just leave it intact?
No, I'd rather take it out just because it's exerting center of control. It's blocking my movement down towards Sparta here.
But are you going to be able to? You're going to get caught by those guys anyway, since you got bottlenecked.
Yeah, this is what my thought was that these guys are so good against districts that once I get him within 2 of Alexander, he's going to get enough of a bonus to take out the district in one shot.
Bam!
And then I can also come down here and take a good shot and wipe out the spearmen. And I still haven't even attacked with the companion cavalry.
Right, and you're still getting the bonus great general points.
Yes, the great general points. That you notice how we've simplified the interface. We've done some more working for modding, and we now have a configuration database where capabilities can be pulled in and out of scenarios. Right. And so we're using that to turn off a lot of our user interface. The only user interface element we have up here is the great person screen, and we can see that as we win combats, we start earning points towards great generals. So you only start with Alexander as your only great general,
right?
But he had a whole contingent of secondary generals who helped him on this campaign, and ultimately we're going to have to get these guys playing important roles for us. They're going to take certain sort of side armies off to conquer some of the more peripheral places.
Yeah, because what we're seeing right now, obviously, there's sort of one route to go. I mean, whether we go around the lake or not, but beyond that, the map opens up big time. So we're going to have to make some decisions. And Alexander, while he's got a huge move, can't be quite everywhere.
Okay, we have all our reinforcements up. Okay, so the final thing to decide is whether we want to go ahead and make this attack. And yeah, I think it's fine. In general, you want to attack as many times as you can every turn, as long as those attacks are within 2 spaces of Alexander, just because you're always beating up the Persian army every time you do that.
And then we've got a few improvements if we need to pillage.
Right. And our new city finished its encampment already, so we need to decide what we want to build there. We're going to get builders as we capture Persian cities. So I don't think they're a huge priority. If we build a settler here, it's going to knock its population down by 1.
Right.
But you can see it's growing pretty quickly already. it's a 2 population, but growing to 3 next turn. So
I like to do that too, because then you get more. You speed up the.
You want to build your settlers
possible.
on your brand new founded cities that are growing. All the cities Persia that you conquer are going to be occupied cities, and they will not grow at all.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to churn out military forces and anything beside a settler. Okay, and now Athens also finished repairing its encampment. Now you could say, well, repair the granary, it's only 1 turn, but that's not going to do us any good in this scenario because it's an occupied city, it has no growth.
Right.
So Athens, as a naval city, is a great place to start assembling a little bit of a navy.
Yep.
So we're going to get a galley going there. And we're on to turn 4.
Yeah, I made the mistake of not doing that, and it took me too long to bring ground units up, and then I had some boats coming in messing with me.
Now, Pete, we have this on quick combat. What do you think we should be doing here, Andrew, in terms of?
I think we can. Let's keep it quick till we get a little further south, and then we can maybe slow down.
Because it does make it a little tricky to see what's going on in the Persian turn. We took a couple hits from the spearmen that they advanced up on.
Yeah, but you look at those health bars, and we're not feeling too bad right now.
No, we're fine. So now, the next thing to think about in this scenario is you want to kind of play rock, paper, scissors with your army as much as possible. So you don't want to send your companion cavalry right against their spearmen. That's typically a losing battle. But you love to have them attack the archers.
Yeah, they rush in, but we got to watch out for that zone of control as always.
And we have our first sighting of a Persian immortal. That's the new Persian unique unit that we announced 2 days ago. And these guys are tough. We want to make sure we don't let the Persian army gather. If you ever get a force of 5, 6 immortals all gathered together against you, it's going to be slow going for your army, and you may take more damage than you can afford.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely have to keep an eye on him. We also may want to look down the road and see what's coming. We have this set on a deity level, so the Persian army is gathering forces faster than it will on any other setting. We originally put this scenario into place with the full up production for the Persian Empire, and it was impossible to win on any difficulty setting. Just because Persia starts with 37 cities, they're just cranking out so many forces. It was unreal. So we had to sort of dial that back, get them so that they're producing what feels like a deity amount of units, but not more than that.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're facing right now. So in terms of what we're sort of our short-term objectives, the next couple turns.
Well, we've got one city, but we're going to get beat up a bit. So we want to think about when we're going to heal and how we're going to plan that.
Right. And we can see right now we're looking at a wonder. This is the mausoleum of Halicarnassus, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. And it's kind of the cool thing about what Alexander did was he actually conquered all the territory that held those 7 wonders of the ancient world. They didn't actually start calling them the 7 wonders of the ancient world until a couple hundred years later. There was some of those.
He would have named them after himself at that point. Anyway.
Yes, Alexander's mausoleum. Right. But we've added the mausoleum in. The mausoleum's effect when you're playing with it in the regular game is it gives you a free great admiral, and then it also means that all your great admirals and great engineers that you produce during the game have an extra charge. So nice. Your admiral can use his passive ability an extra time, and engineers have an extra charge. So that maybe if they're like boosting the appeal of a city or something like that, they can do it on one extra city. The reason is Halicarnassus was a sort of a famous naval port town. That was actually where the Persian Navy was based, and Alexander had trouble taking it. And there was a famous great admiral from Halicarnassus that I do believe is one of our great admirals in the game.
Yeah.
So that's why we gave it that kind of bonus. And we have another great wonder that's also world wonder that's also included in the DLC pack that we'll talk about when we get a little bit further on the map. So the other tricky thing about Halicarnassus is it is a walled city. Yes. And so rather than just having the single health bar, it's got the normal Civ 6 double health bar for both city defense and for the garrison strength. And we don't have any siege units to take that.
Right. So I've tended to find that I don't know what you do here, but after I take Sparta, I usually split my army between Halicarnassus and Gordian. Gordian, thank you. And I sent Alexander screen between the two. And I don't know if that's actually a good idea or not.
I've also debated, what I like to do on a lot of the walled cities is use my money. We don't have enough right now.
Right.
But to buy a siege tower, because siege towers let you ignore the walls.
Oh.
So once you get to 200 gold, you can do that, but we're not that high yet. It's going to be another 5 or 6 turns till we have that much gold, and we don't have that much time on deity.
Right, we got to
So
keep
we're going to
moving.
have to take Halicarnassus with ground forces, and it's going to take at least 2 turns of pounding, probably with 3 units here, to be able to take it. So what we want to do this turn is we want we want to wipe this army out as much as we possibly can so that we have free reign to go down here and take Halicarnassus the next turn. I wouldn't worry quite as much about the city here. We just want to actually do a ton of damage to the army. So let's look at our units and see which of them...
So he's not yet in range of Alexander's bonus.
Right. Now they are getting road movement bonuses. So like our archer here, it only costs them 3/4 of a move to go here. He can actually get a shot off. So let's go ahead and have him damage the spearman. And
probably want to
I definitely want to get this companion cavalry around here to he'll one-shot the archer here. So if we do that, and then use some of the ground troops to take out the spearmen, I think that's probably a pretty reasonable
Well, do you want
turn.
to take out the spearmen first with the ground troops so you don't get rid of that zone of control?
Well, remember our cavalry ignores zone of control.
Right.
So he can come straight down and just...
Sack
let's
him.
go ahead and just have him do that first. He held on with like minimal...
That is
points.
not good.
That's not helpful.
Because now you have not just another attack that you have to spend there, but you've got something blocking your way.
Now, we do get an extra flanking bonus for having this unit out here, so that's helpful. And so I think we can take this guy out in one shot.
Yep.
Now, will this guy have enough movement to also... Let's take it out with this guy, because this one here will be able to come down and finish the archer off. So since the archer doesn't have zone of control, we can move him down here and finish the archer off. And then the companion cavalry can come down here. And we might as well get some damage in on the city. We'll decide where Alexander's going when we see exactly where all of our forces are. So,
park him down and to the left on those cavalry.
If he's there, yeah, then he is within, or we could have put him on the encampment itself.
I guess
and
there's no one that
everybody but the hoplites would be within 2, and I don't think we're at risk of being attacked.
Yeah, and those guys can't get all the way around.
Right, so that's sort of the optimum place to leave him at the end of the turn. Okay, and for production, let's keep churning out the companion cavalry. Because our encampment's here, every time we finish one of these, it's going to spawn right here, sort of by where Byzantium, Constantinople should be. So that's a sort of a nice place to have units come in. And I think we finished our galley. So we're going to start to get some naval support here.
Start to do some patrolling.
I think we can go ahead and probably build a second galley here. And let's go ahead and end the turn. Okay, now we just got a question in from chat. Can immortals capture cities? Some quick facts about immortals. Immortals, they fight as strong as a unit that would come at their time period. So they basically defend themselves to melee attacks just like they're swordsmen.
Yeah.
But they do attack with a ranged attack, which is great because they're not taking any damage when they make
it's great
their
for
attack.
them.
It's great for them. It's tough for us.
Yeah.
But the only downside to it is they cannot capture cities on their own. So when you're playing as Persia, one thing you'll want to do is you want to have chariots or horsemen, or even spearmen are fine.
Right.
But some type of melee unit to
Right,
be
but having that ranged
marching
unit,
with them.
having
Marching
a
unit that's that tough.
Yeah, it's
and he's got a 2-hex range, so he's not just
Yeah.
blasting guys immediately in front of me, but anywhere within 2 of him. It's definitely a very powerful type of unit to have. All right. So our archer, okay, we're on a brand new turn, and everybody but our hoplites have lots of movement this time. What did the Persians do? It looks like they are grouping around Gordium. They are, the famous Gordian knot problem?
Right.
That's named after that city that the Persians are gathering around.
Gotcha.
So they are trying to put that same type of tough nut for us to crack right around the city there.
Right. Do they have much coming behind it, or are they? Yeah.
Yep, it's going to be a steady stream for a while here. So I think what we want to do is we're going to have to go ahead and take this city down this turn so we can get on to Halicarnassus. And we may, if we have any extra forces, maybe we can just put a blocking force up here. You're right, I like the idea of Alexander sort of being in this area
Just
here,
going up
so
and down,
he can be down at Halicarnassus when we need to attack, but he can also be guarding the front lines as well.
I like to, this was the one spot where I was able to get Alexander in there and then have in the center and have everyone around him. I had one turn, so my whole army got the bonus move, and then I had him move with the attack.
That's nice.
And that was a big one.
All right, so let's whittle down the city with our archer. We can actually press forward a little bit. We can, our companion cavalry is not going to be slowed by zone of control. We can move the archer up. He can take a shot. You notice that the siege indicator's on the city, so that it's not going to be healing anymore because we now have zone of control all the way around it. That's not going to be crucial in this case because that city's going to fall to us this turn.
Very quickly.
But for other cities, it's going to be important. And notice that it'd be great if we could get our fleet around to have naval zone of control on Halicarnassus, but the Persian fleet is in our way, and so that's very unlikely to be something that we're going to be able to achieve in time to help us take that city.
Right, but there was enough down along the coast later. This is still a good direction to head.
Yeah, it's still definitely worth having the Navy. Okay, so our assault troops are going to be great at taking the city. Nobody's going to be able to do it in one shot, though.
And what are you planning to do with those guys to the west there?
The hoplites?
No, the
Oh,
Hittite.
these guys, yeah. We could take a shot with them so that our Hippaspes aren't too beat up before they get down to Halicarnassus.
Right, but this is what we were talking about earlier, where we got a wonder coming for that we can get the mausoleum to heal up.
Right, and we should also look. These guys have both earned promotions, so we can heal them with promotions. So I think we can go ahead and afford. Let's have the companion cavalry attack them all the way down on this side. So we're kind of pushed him forward, but he's not going to take the city, but he'll do a lot of damage to it. Although it would have been better if we had...
Got to always think about where Alexander is.
He was within 2 because the combat occurred here, so that was okay. But we're still not going to be able to take it in one shot, are we? And this companion cavalry, though, can move here.
Soften it a little more.
Soften a little bit more, and now we should be able to one-shot him with this guy.
Yeah.
Okay, we captured a worker, so he's going to go and improve our new cities to the north. One last Persian horseman. Okay, we need to get Alexander closer to that horseman before we attack it. And wipe him out with that companion cavalry. And then we're going to march on Halicarnassus.
So, can we still train regular swordsmen, or is it like Egypt's unit?
No, it does replace the swordsman, so we can't. Okay, and This guy's damaged. He has a promotion that we can use, so let's not use all of his movement.
Yeah, I like to bring him forward as much as I can.
So let's think about where Alexander can be. Alexander, if we can actually get Alexander close to those hoplites, they're going to become more useful to us. But I am worried about this cavalry out here.
Are they? Yeah, they'll be able to get in range.
So we could move him out here as a blocking force.
True, but then he's definitely not getting the bonus.
Well, and
the movement at least.
Well, then we can move Alexander in behind him. The hoplites won't get the bonus that way, but.
But like you said, if we don't bring them up, they're not gonna. They're gonna continue to just trail for a bit.
They'll be okay though. Let's go ahead and do that. We'll bring Alexander here. Maybe 1x back. Yeah, 1x back. Okay, so you can see I'm not playing this perfectly, but certainly there's a lot to consider in terms of your tactical positioning of your troops every single turn here.
It's just hard to think that you've captured 2 cities and settled a new one, and you're only in your, I think, 5th turn, if I'm reading that UI right from here.
Right.
And yeah, it's a busy...
It's a busy, very dense scenario, lots of action, lots of decisions to make. All right, so we have a new city here. It's an occupied city. We'll start out by...
Oh, no.
We can switch that.
Yeah.
Clicked on the wrong one. We want to repair the encampment. Okay, and now let's hope that these ranged Persian forces leave us alone for at least a turn or 2. But maybe not. So...
But it's a good thing you brought Alexander up there.
It's a good thing I brought Alexander up and that we had that unit. Otherwise, we would have lost the commanding cavalry.
Yeah, they still took a hit, it looks like, but they got that promotion.
Right. Okay, so some of this companion cavalry is going to have to slice up some Persian ranged units, I think, this turn. So let's go ahead and let's bring the fully healthy one up to the front. And he can one-shot that archer.
Do you want to pull that injured one back and down a little? Way up front?
Here?
Yeah, pull him back and give him his heal.
He definitely needs to take his heal. And have him get ready to go after Halicarnassus on the next turn, maybe.
Yeah, if you can get him and one other. I mean, that's what I like to do, where like I said, where I split them, and that's where I'd put a couple of guys down there and just let it last.
He's got enough movement, we can get him all the way here and still heal him. Okay, and just because of the immortals, I like to take the barding improvement almost always, promotion almost always, because it gives us the extra defense against ranged attack. All right, so we want to get him down next to Halicarnassus because another frontline troop that can do the city assault. And let's heal him up before he starts assaulting. And we'll also protect him against ranged attacks. And now...
Some more choices. Do we have a way to bring that guy to the front and work on those immortals?
Yeah, we could move this infantry down, bring the cavalry up, and attack the immortal with the cavalry. Have Alexander move up to support that.
Yeah.
Since we're not going to assault Halicarnassus this turn, Alexander can remain in this area.
We don't need the movement.
Hoplites.
We don't need the movement down there because we already got those guys.
But let's go ahead and head this guy down so he can be ready to assault down there.
Sounds good.
And our archer has enough movement. He can move here. Start to damage this immortal.
I like to imagine them yelling, "Wait for me!"
Yep.
Just make sure we leave him with somebody.
Okay, so we start out with Alexander there.
Now, are they going to take those immortals?
We're going to kill off this immortal.
Yep.
So
nice.
And I think we should have enough strength. We're not going to die in counterattacks, but it will be a little dicey. But we got to risk it at some point.
I think you'll be fine.
Okay, and now these guys are not necessarily going to need the extra movement, so we don't have to put Alexander down there. They just need enough movement to take the city. So we could actually.
So what I would do is leave him maybe one down, and then on my next turn, bring him down to help support the attack, and then you bring him back up and support the attack up.
Right, and I think this is the optimal spot for that. Okay. Sparta, again, is a captured city, so it's not a great place to build a settler. Although we can get a settler done in one turn there. But let's
save that citizen.
Let's build another Halicarnassus there. Done. Now our naval situation. Kind of in a stalemate with them. I think.
I just keep working at them.
Yeah, but eventually we may have to pull back and heal them.
No, you just.
We got a promotion though, so that might help. Okay, so next turn, let's see what the Persian army does to us. Okay, looks like they reinforced the town, but they didn't hit any of our frontline troops. So that's nice. And now we have to start working on Halicarnassus.
Yes. Let's get that heal.
Did their galley
run away?
No, I think it destroyed itself against us, it looks like. But they have another galley here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that is a different galley.
We can't quite get far enough to exert zone of control. And if we get within 2, the city has a range shot it can take against us. So let's go ahead and move 2 and take our promotion to heal ourselves. And strengthen ourselves against naval units.
Make our one boat good against boats.
Right. We have another boat coming in 2 turns, so we'll get there in terms of having a navy. All right, and so let's move Alexander down close to Halicarnassus. If we move him there, he's in enemy zone control. So let's actually work on picking off this heavy chariot first. Destroy it. Move Alexander down.
Yeah.
Take all our hits on the city. See that with the walls and everything, it's just taking a while to get through it. But now we can also finally get our hoplites up.
And we should get this guy up to the front almost by probably next turn.
And we want to keep Alexander within 2 of these guys, so maybe move him.
Well, you can go up to the right if you want to use him for an assault.
First, but we want to end the turn.
Yeah, we want to end over there so we can get those guys rushing into Gordium next turn.
Or we could heal this guy on the farm. He could save his promotion. He could still get healed. He could stay within 2 of Alexander. If he attacks and he's not going to kill that immortal.
So how far out does the heal from taking the city go?
Well, that's the cool thing about it, is it applies to the entire Macedonian army.
Right.
So across the entire map. So if Halicarnassus is going to fall next turn, everyone will heal from that.
It'll be.
But I like having everyone within 2, like you were talking about. That's a really cool situation to be in. This guy here won't be within 2, but let's go ahead and get him healed through pillaging, and then actually he's That's the thing we have to remember about healing from pillaging. It only costs 3 movement.
Oh yeah, with that huge bonus.
Yeah, so we can actually go ahead and whack the Immortal and still get Alexander back here. All right, so that's a great turn for us. And more companion cavalry. Okay.
How are we doing on that settler? We got a 3 coming. Okay.
Yeah.
So busy 7 turns, right?
Oh yes. No, we have to finish a plantation.
There's more coming.
Okay, so they did bomb our galley. It was a good thing that we went ahead and reinforced that.
I'd rather have them shoot at that galley than those units, though.
Yeah, exactly. And this unit may be damaged enough we don't actually use him to attack with. We may have to think about that because we want Halicarnassus to fall this turn. The other thing to think about is on a turn where you're going to capture a wonder, you want to set it up so you've made all your attacks ahead of time.
Right, so you get the most heal
out of it.
Now, I've also done the opposite where I've saved an attack until I got the heal because I had a guy close to dying. So I got to take the city, heal him up, then I can attack.
Right. It works both ways. All right, we'll start by moving Alexander here. This cavalry is the one that I'm not sure we're going to attack with, so let's swap spots and get our attacks in with our mainline infantry to start with.
You just had the wrong unit there.
No. This one? Oh, I did.
Yeah,
right.
you did. Well, he lived.
He did. I'm not sure we're going to be able to take it this turn, though.
We're not.
So.
Although we got to keep flogging it, otherwise.
Yeah, that's not going to do much. We could damage it with the archer. It's not going to do much to it either, though. All right, so
but we can bring the hoplites and that other cavalry up. Bring Alexander back up to that front fight.
Yeah, and let's go ahead and get ready to take Gordium.
That should fall a lot faster.
Yep. All right, so Alexander will move up here. We will decisively beat the Immortal with our cavalry, except for, he's hung on with a hit point or so we'll finish him off with our archer. And then we'll get our hoplites up here. And then attack the spearmen.
You want to take out that cavalry or go after it?
Well, I don't think we have the movement to get Alexander there and back. But, so I would say maybe have him start attacking the city.
Well, if you just move the Alexander over 2 to the right on top of the hoplite.
But don't we want them close to we want these guys to have a lot of movement next turn. So we want to be able to take the city and get them back up with the rest of our army.
You think, the city will stay weak enough?
I think this will help us with the city next turn because it'll be down to about half strength here.
All right.
So let's just go for it. As a matter of fact, let's actually try to take out that city here. Doesn't look like it's going to quite fall.
Let's see. Go back over it.
Got a shot.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. There's some good fortune for us. All right, and we'll pull Alexander back to here to help out with Halicarnassus. Are we worried about attacks on our front next turn? Persian army's still coming. They actually have some Egyptian mercenaries that are helping them here.
You know, there's a lot of unit flags out there, but a couple of those boats we don't have to worry about. I think we're going to be okay.
So you think it's better to pull Alexander back?
I do. I'd rather have
him right near Halicarnassus. Okay. Okay, now this city here is
this?
one. This is the one that's right in the middle of everything.
Oh yeah, I've lamented its location, but I never even considered raising.
Yeah, it's the city to raise because it just opens up all sorts of places where we have more combinations of 4-hex spots to put cities down in. Our builder has. Let's go ahead and he'll start working on improving the fish. All right, so we're gonna.
Maybe we can take out Halicarnassus next turn, and then we can check out that last wonder.
Yep. Halicarnassus should fall with these 2 attacks, I would think.
If not, we'll throw those guys at it.
Okay, so now we're about to get healing on everybody, so actually we don't want to attack quite yet. We want to wipe these guys out as best we can first. Although, if we pull Alexander away, are we going to still take that city? Maybe not. It's pretty nip and tuck.
Well, everyone up there has a promotion. So if they do get into a bind, they're not going to be lost.
And we'll move Alex. Let's go ahead and take the city now. Okay, so you see, boof, magically, everybody has healed.
I just heard all the Persian army scream.
Yes, and our guys are rejoicing that we've captured another world wonder, so there's a morale boost and everyone is magically healed from that. Alexander can run up here. And before we get too far with this, let's maybe talk about sort of strategy going forward on the map here. We are, we have another 28 turns here, so we have some time.
Not a lot.
Not maybe as much as we'd like. But we want to look at places that we're going to get healing, places that walled cities exist, because those are sort of the problem spots. So there's a wonder down here, Memphis in Egypt, where the pyramids are. That will be a great spot for us to heal. I actually like to leave that as sort of like a last ditch heal when my army's all the way over towards India and in a desperate bind. I capture the pyramids at that point in time, and then wow, they're healed, and that could turn the tide of battle. You are going to have to go through 2 walled cities to get there, though, so that's tough. I like to maybe buy a siege tower here at Thapsus, and then that can come down and help with those 2 cities.
So the interesting thing here, though, is this is that fork we were talking about a while ago, where if you got one direction east, and you don't have the time to go down and then come back up. Right. You've got to make a decision where you're heading or who's going which way.
And you can see there's a real choke point here as you're leaving Asia Minor. This is historically where one of Alexander's major battles was fought. And if you let the Persian army gather in strength there, you can be delayed several turns getting through there. So we're going to want to make sure that we're doing steady damage, like we've been doing, knocking 2, 3, 4 units off their, knocking them out of their army, making those immortal not as immortal as maybe they like to think they are. So if you can do that at a steady pace, then this choke point's not going to be so bad. And we should also look at our great general points.
Probably pretty close, yeah.
Yeah, we're real close to getting Antigenes, who's going to be our next great general. Don't forget when you're playing this scenario that great generals can transfer directly from one city to another using the teleport.
I made that mistake my first game.
I did too. So when he comes into being back in Macedon, you can go ahead and instantly transport him up to your leading city, and he can start leading a new wing of the army. So he'll probably be our commander that we'll send down into Egypt.
Yeah, it's not quite as big of a fight when you're heading south, but it's still important to have someone there just to keep that speed going the whole time.
Right, and so Alexander's main route is going to head towards the Persian capital, which is Parsa, or Persepolis in Greek. And we can notice on the map here that there is a brand new world wonder that's also part of this DLC pack that has been built outside Parsa. That is the Appendana, which is the sort of royal audience chamber that was attached to the palace in Persepolis or Parsa. And so the Appendana, its ability, we can go ahead and check in the Civilopedia, right?
The Civilopedia? Who would open that now?
Let's
check the information
Let's go
there.
ahead and look. All right, so World Wonders, the Appendana. Okay, no effect in this scenario except for it triggers Alexander's leader ability. So we're going to have to describe...
That's a great effect for me right now.
Describe what ability it has in the base game. In the base game, it has to be built next to your capital city's city center, because it has to be sort of that royal audience chamber right next to your palace. And when you build this wonder, you instantly get 2 envoys to place out with city-states. It's an audience chamber, so you're receiving the envoys from the city-state. And then every time you add another wonder to that city, 2 additional envoys also get awarded to you to go out. So it's sort of like a diplomatic boost.
You want to play with city-states.
If you want to play with city-states, you want to get this wonder. And it unlocks with political philosophy, so it's sort of right there in the kind of core path through the civics tree.
Cool.
That you're going to unlock it. Okay, so
we didn't quite make it, but as we can see, there's a lot of fight left to go in this giant conquest of ours.
And let's, before we leave, since we were in the Civilopedia talking about things you can find in the Civilopedia, we did like to check out leader agendas in the Civilopedia.
We do like leader agendas.
So let's, that's one of the things that was not announced with our civilizations when they were revealed this week.
Yeah, we can. So some people have been asking about how much of what we've seen so far is specific for the scenario or not. So it'd be good to see what we can.
Yeah, and notice the to the world's end ability that Alexander has, where he heals when he conquers a world wonder. That is base game as well.
Yeah.
So that was something that wasn't. I think if you looked really, really carefully at the first look video, you might have been able to see that happening, but it wasn't actually part of the verbal announcement, and so a lot of people didn't pick up on that. So that's another nice tool in Alexander's warmongering arsenal for when you're playing the base game with him. And then in terms of leader agendas, Darius is the leader for Persia in this scenario, as it should be historically. So we can't see Cyrus's leader agenda here, but Alexander's leader agenda, he has a short life of glory. So he likes civilizations at war with powers other than Macedon. He likes to see the people that are out there mixing it up and fighting. So if you're a peaceful civilization that's never gone to war, he will have disdain for you and not be your friend. The other agenda for Cyrus, out in the base game, you won't see it in the scenario, but is also interesting, and it is, again, related to making war in the interesting ways that both of these new DLC 4 leaders like to approach the diplomatic scene. So if you remember Cyrus's ability, he gets extra movement for the first 10 turns after a surprise attack. They get all the Persian units, even civilian units, get 2 extra movement.
It's just like a great hurry up phase where you can this is ready. Okay, you don't have to necessarily show everything lining up on the front lines and sort of show your hand before flipping that state. You can kind of do that rush.
Right,
and just
so
run
the whole country's mobilized.
You can run in and punch him in the face.
And in terms of his agenda, he likes, we call it opportunist. So he sort of likes people that sort of play in that backstabbing kind of fashion. So if you've declared a surprise war, he has a lot of respect for you, and he will think better of you as a diplomatic partner. But if you've never used surprise war, it's not a real strong penalty, but there's a penalty for never having done it.
He likes people where everything's on the table.
Yes, yes.
All right. Well, want to thank you all for joining us. And like we said at the beginning, we're going to have some patch notes and some announcements about when this is going to be coming out in the near future. So stay tuned to social media and look out for all that information.